rolling. Once again, it's episode 23 of the Markets Podcast. Welcome back. If you are joining for the first time, welcome. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We do this every single week. Comes out Saturday morning. Typically, we're recording this a little bit earlier in the week.
Right.
Because, hey, we had to, Sean.
Why is that?
I have no idea.
I thought is anybody in charge around here?
No, someone needed a day off. I'm not going to say who.
Well, I mean,
I'm not going to say who.
People will know that ain't me.
Someone needed a day off. But hey, it's all good. What a week. So much.
I thought it was Fabian. I mean, what's wrong with saying that Fabian needs a day off? I think we all deserve a day off.
Agreed.
Do you know that
we're just not allowed.
I think North America actually, Brendan, has the, exactly. No, but honestly, I think North America has like the highest amount of work days in a year. Like in Europe, you know this. Yeah. Go to Italy, go to Greece, go to Spain in the summer.
Live first, work later.
I mean, we have Luis. This guy's just like, it's a beautiful day. We made our money. We're out on the beach. We're chilling out in Barcelona.
Honestly, how good of a life does that guy have?
I don't know. I went outside today and it was doom and gloom. I'm like, oh God, I gotta run into Tim Hortons or get a coffee before I get rained on.
I know. It
feels like we're shout out to all of our friends in lovely UK. It's always
Barcelona.
Wow, I mean,
beautiful city.
Europe, would that be a consideration for you if you had to retire into a European city?
You know the answer.
Barcelona has to be up there.
In a heartbeat.
That has to be up there.
In a heartbeat.
Have those
sangrias.
They do
transit right.
I remember those sangria stories of yours. Was it sangria or was it?
Yeah, that was in Barcelona.
Yeah, see?
Second we stepped off.
See, Brendan, you always say I don't pay attention.
No,
maybe you actually don't say that.
They served it in a clay pot.
Right.
I'm not even over-exaggerating. It was this big, clay pot. Two little tiny little glasses.
I wonder what the ratio of one.
I could barely walk after one.
What? Oh, you only had the one pot, or did you have multiple pots?
No, it was just one.
Oh, just the one.
It was strong.
Oh, if you were there with my wife, we'd have had a couple of those pots.
Okay.
But
anyway.
yeah. Anyways, Barcelona, shout out.
Yeah, beautiful city. Shout out to Luis Barbado.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about a few things that happened this week because hey, a lot happened this week. If you're just catching up, we got some extremely hawkish comments from Fed Chair Powell on purpose, but much needed, I feel, as well because of what has happened on the inflation side of things. I'll show you the comments here in a second, but I wanted to show you this to start things off. Sean, we are right back to November of 2023 levels on the 30-year yield.
Oh.
The peak, if you remember, when inflation was still on the ramp side of things, was October of 2023. So we are a month out from retesting those October highs on the 30-year. And again, this is long-term.
Right, well, that was 30, right? Yeah.
We touched 4.8% on the 30-year this week because Fed Chair Powell came out and said, inflation's going the wrong direction. We need to keep rates, guess what? Higher for longer.
That's why I was really surprised on banks are supposed to make more money if rates stay higher for longer as well. We had bank earnings. That gave a little bit of a mixed message to some of this. But we've already talked about it. It's pretty much 100% for May. We're going to get that next week, 2 weeks from now. There's going to be no cut there.
Yeah.
Interested in what happens. I'm not a big yield guy. I don't really study those charts too much. But I do think it's very interesting to understand that this market right now, there's many different options for people that are managing their portfolios, whether or not you want to sit in a little bit of cash right now, earn somewhere near that 5%.
Yeah.
But as rates continue to go high like this and the market, although a nice pullback, Fed's not supposed to be market dependent.
Yeah.
So as they start to see some of these rates move, we're going to get jobs next week. I'm a little skeptical that we even get any rate cuts at all possibly this year.
Agree.
And I think that's exactly what your yield is showing you right there as we go back up to some of those highs. You said the high was October of 22?
23.
23, okay, so the last October.
Yeah, so we're getting
right when the market was
right back there
near that bottom.
Yeah, and that's what caused that bottom.
But the interesting thing is we're nowhere near that. Like for the S&P 500, if you come over to the screen here, we're at $500 right now per share, right? All the way back down to where we were on those October numbers. You still got a little ways to drop. So right now, something's off a little bit with yields being close to those highs, and the S&P 500 has a lot of retracing to do. So to me, that's a little bit of a warning sign for the market, maybe some more downside to come.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that from the standpoint of what are we buying and where do we start buying. But just so everyone's aware, this was the exact headline anyways, or one of them, that came out from that speech way back on, what was it, Tuesday? that we had Fed Chair Powell on the mic. I mean, look, he has said, and shout out to Frank, we do this every week, Frank Caberno over at IG. He reiterated this point when I pushed him on it a little bit, that he has said right from the beginning, Powell has said right from the beginning, they need to see inflation moving in a continuous fashion towards 2%.
And all of a sudden we stopped.
We showed that chart on the episode last week.
Right.
We're doing this again.
Yeah. We stopped on a dime.
Yeah, on that inflation.
We had hot reads last week. PPI, CPI didn't help the case. And then I was just looking through our schedule for next week to make sure that we were right on that. And yes, it is. We do have economic numbers. I don't have anything to show you, but GDP coming out next Thursday. That should be interesting. Jobless claims for the week coming out next Thursday.
The
pending
biggest
home
one
sales.
Friday.
Oh, what? I didn't even go down there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
PCE.
Yeah, PCE index, what they're looking at right there, expected 0.3 previous. We'll see what happens over there. But that's the big one. So we'll see what that rating comes out at. Seems to be going higher. But, you know, maybe we'll talk to Frank about this maybe tomorrow, Thursday, because it's only Wednesday now. So we don't know what's going to happen by the time this finally hits everybody's podcasting
List,
platform.
Feed?
Yeah.
Feed?
Yeah, feed
List.
is good.
I don't
So we have a lot of things coming out. But the idea is we're going to have to wait because maybe that Fed number of 2% is not going to be obtainable.
I don't think so.
We should have got there on 500 straight basis points of hikes. Now we're not even getting any cuts.
Yeah.
Do you think we don't get a cut?
I'm more and more moving in that direction. I'm more and more moving even in the direction of, like, if you remember that core number on CPI going back to last week
2 weeks ago
was 3.8%.
Right.
Like, Sean, what happens if we get a 4 handle on inflation again?
What happens if or when? Because I think, what happens? I mean, the market's falling down right now.
Do they go up before they go down?
I got to refinance this mortgage ASAP before something bad happens.
Yeah.
But you know what? I just asked you that question, and if you go out here, and I want to thank Frank for this, because I didn't even think about going all the way out to December. But here's December, current rates. So it's still 90% chance that we get something.
But the difference is...
It was 2%.
And what was it, 100 basis points at the beginning of the year they were looking at? 125,
Even more.
I think
Didn't
it was?
someone say 6 cuts?
Now it's 1, Sean. Like,
right there, yeah,
the majority
31%
is 1.
chance.
So the shift has changed. I want to put it to you in this sense, though. Does it matter if it's 2024 or does it matter if it's 2025 at this point?
I'll just steal something from what Neil always says. I mean, it's always going to be about your time frame.
Right, but
I mean, us as day traders want volatility.
Yeah.
Us as, and I'm talking about you and I, that are trying to hold out for longer term, I think it just allows traders like us to sit on our hands possibly and give opportunity for this market to cool off. It is not that Fed pivot. I mean, how do you go from 6 possible rate cuts to 0?
Yeah.
And now maybe it looks like the market's pricing in 1. Does it not feel that it doesn't even matter what the market thinks anymore?
Exactly.
Because we're reacting on things that just aren't going to happen.
Exactly.
Why not just look at price action? I mean, the S&P 500 is broken below the 50-period moving average. The triple Qs, today actually, I know we're going to get to this, but NVIDIA, Brendan, is right about to lose it.
Now.
It's right there. It's right now. AMD, you want to talk about a stock being in a bear market? What is a bear market? 20%? Okay, so this high is 227. You're now at 153. You've lost $70 on 220.
Yeah.
That's bearish.
Yeah.
That's a bear market.
I just want to go back to that SPY chart again, if you can, and just touch on the simple fact that it was the outlook of a whole bunch of cuts that caused this huge run up since that last low in the overall market. And now we're not getting any.
I know. I don't think we pull all the way back.
No, but that had a lot to do with this last leg up in that chart right now. What happens when they do, again, whether it's 2024 or 2025, what happens when they do start actually pulling this back?
The interesting thing about the SPY too is that although energy is well under as far as a percentage of the S&P 500, just because of how extreme the tech names have been, but energy's been rallying. JP Morgan, before they came out, the ETFs of XLF was at all-time or near all-time highs. It might have been at all-time highs as well before that report. So I just feel that we always talk a little bit about what's going to happen with some of these big tech names. But realistically, there's a lot of strength out there still in a lot of different sectors, and we are going to talk about that. I'm not overly worried. I think heading into earnings season, we're just going to have to see what happens. The banks were pretty mixed.
Yep.
Now we're going to come up with Netflix on Thursday. That should be exciting to see what happens there. And then it's put up or shut up, because you do not have the Fed on your side. When you do not have the Fed on your side, it's not an investable situation, in my opinion. We all knew when the Fed was like, hey man, we're going to start hiking. That sent the market into a tailspin.
Yeah.
Now, we thought we were getting 6 rate hikes, or cuts. You just nailed that. That was part of this whole move up. I mean, talk about a move up. You went from 400 to 500 in a matter of 5 months.
Because inflation was fixed, right?
You went up 25% in the world's largest market.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And now, unfortunately, tides have turned. We do know Fed is not on our side. I don't think we want to even dip by at these levels yet.
I don't want to waste too much time.
Yeah,
on
let's
this,
not do that.
Let's touch on from another macro type of topic here. And you've mentioned this many times, but this tweet is kind of interesting, highlighting some of the layoffs that have happened. A little bit more in the tech side of things. Twitch, 35%. Hasbro's not tech, obviously, but 20%. Spotify, 17%. Levi's, Xerox. I mean, it goes on and on. Yeah. Tesla down here. This is wrong. It's actually 20% or closer to 20%.
Today we heard another 500.
Or it started at least. Rivian comes out late in the day and says they've started another round of layoffs. So, I mean, the data that Fed Chair Powell is still pointing to is still showing all kinds of strength in the employment market. Again, and you touched on this, their mandate is jobs and inflation, making sure everyone has a job and controlling inflation. Everyone has allegedly more jobs than they can actually fill, but why is why are these layoffs coming to this extent now? That's the interesting part of this.
Well, I think as companies decide to just look at their balance sheet and try to figure out what is going on exactly with their expenses. But I don't know. I'm looking here. I find there's a lot of, as we look at some of those things, Twitch, some of the layoffs have come from companies that did put through a lot of hiring. You know, like during COVID, unfortunately, you know, Twitch came out of nowhere. It was Amazon.
Which is Amazon, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, so they probably hired a Twitch ton of employees, you know, only now to have to let some go. So I feel like we're kind of just laying out the story here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, people have talked about some of those numbers not mattering because we keep getting revisions to some of that. I think we're now going to be out of, and Jerome Powell himself, remember, he said there's some seasonality in those last numbers. So every time they're questioned about this, I feel like there's excuses that are there. At some point, the job market, unfortunately, is most likely going to crack. I don't know what that means for the market. We saw actually new home starts were lower.
Yeah.
That was a couple days ago. So what does that mean?
Yeah.
And then mortgage rates are still bumping back up. We just talked about yields and rates coming through there again. I don't know. I think as long as people can go to work and collect a paycheck, they'll keep spending. Yeah. When those numbers start to turn around the other way, then we start to worry about it. But again, United States is such an interesting place because that 3.4% or whatever that unemployment rate is, that's like near perfect employment.
Yeah, and there's still
like you just said, there's still
300,000 plus jobs.
I mean, we're always looking to hire. I mean, not always looking, but the marketplace is there, right? People are out there looking for jobs.
For sure.
And I just think that right now there used to be, and you and I have had this talk, feel like it used to be a sort of an employees market, and I wonder if it's getting back to an employer as more and more people are now worried for their job and not simply saying, give me a raise or I'm going to the guy across the street. Yeah. I haven't heard a lot of that talk.
No,
things are definitely changing in that spot.
I want to get your thought on this real quick. How much of this, from the spending side of things, from the mortgage side of things, from the home buying side of things, is because people were gifted these interest rates on mortgages going back to pre-pandemic, throughout the pandemic, you know, being able to take advantage of, I mean, I was able to lock in 1.8%, I checked.
You know, that's, when did you check? Because I checked mine today, that's hilarious.
I checked on the weekend, I think it was. But all these people that are sitting on these, you know, pandemic era interest rates on their mortgages still have excess cash and spending cash because the interest on some of their payments isn't as
yeah, but how are you going to unlock that value in your house though? If you're just talking about having more cash in your pocket,
exactly.
I mean, I just think that doesn't matter to people because they don't see that because your mortgage payments are 1.8%. So it's just been a natural, hey, this gets, $500 deducted from my whatever checking account every single month.
Exactly.
It's when you have to refinance. And
that's
so I have a fun story. I'm at 169. So that was good. But guess when it's coming due? October of this year.
Hooray.
So I clicked on the app. It's like, oh, let's start to get the refinancing going early.
Yeah.
The best rate was 5.08 for like a 5-year or 3 or 4 year. I don't know. I just was like close immediately.
Alterna right down the street has 499 on their window.
That's what I'm saying. I'm still trying. I mean,
you can shop around. You can shop around.
Actually, I don't really.
No, but take that and say.
Oh yeah. I just say, you know what, this is what we gotta do. But at the end of the day, housing prices around here have been pretty solid. I don't know about you. Houses are going up in my neighborhood and selling for over ask in a week.
In a competition, even. Like
and in a bad rate environment.
Yeah, in a bidding war. Yeah. No,
so
the demand is there.
We're lucky, and I feel we talked about this for the youth. I really think that home buyers, like first home buyer, you should be able to get like a subsidized. And last time I said this, I actually got in trouble from some of the viewers because they were like, oh, you want the government to subsidize mortgages now and stuff like that? I just think for first home buyers, get people into their homes because rents are ridiculous right now.
But that's an inventory thing. That's purely an inventory.
But we're not getting any more inventory. No. If anything, the minute a space...
They're trying.
They're trying, but I mean, it takes a while to build that, and then you got to find people that are going to want to build. And why, if I was a builder, would I build a rental unit when I could just sell the units for ridiculous amounts?
So many people that own these shoebox condos that are all around us here, what percentage of those are rentals? They're investment properties that they...
True. And we are trying to like curb it by banning foreign investment.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's dissect this Tesla.
What's up with Airbnb these days?
Debacle. It was not a good week again for Tesla. Again, we're recording this on Wednesday, so anything you'll see on a chart is going to be as of Wednesday. We are, Sean, right here.
No, I looked at that today.
We've been talking about 150. Hey, guess what? It's 150 for Tesla, and earnings are Tuesday.
They're expected to come out with 49 cents, revenue of 22.7 billion. I think their revenue number will probably be light because we keep on hearing about job cuts at Rivian. Well, that was another one that we didn't even talk about.
No, I just mentioned.
So that came out today as well. The Rivian job cuts, the Tesla job cuts. They missed both last time. So Q4 2023, they missed on both revenue and earnings per share. And now the environment, I feel like, isn't getting any better. More people, we just said, nervous about possibly not getting that car loan all sorted out. And then it is just one of those slippery slopes here with Tesla, because I said this on the show. If you were trying to buy some of these dips, and we got to hear from Kathy Wood, we need some positive takes on Tesla, because it's just getting to the downside today. You're at that 150 mark. That goes back to this May of 23 level. And I always thought that, hey, look, when I'm buying Tesla here on weakness in 170, 180, I'm like, oh, that's okay. We have 150 to hold. But when we don't hold 150 and we get to the downside, there's problems with Tesla. I think it's overdone personally. Let's just see what comes out of this. The pay thing is an issue, I feel like. Moving out of Delaware, possibly going into Texas there. Looks like they'll get that approved. They've hired the company there to go out and get the votes. They're saying, look, it's going to cost millions of dollars to settle this. Why not just get this thing done? Pay the man his money. But at the end of the day, Tesla, I mean, they're looking for $56 billion. The cash on hand for Tesla is, tell me this, $29 billion.
Unreal.
So how are you going to pay the man?
They don't have, and that's why I think they were talking this week about shares, more shares.
Right, so if they have to issue shares.
That's a problem too.
That's a problem too. Now, I don't know exactly how that all goes down, whether or not this money is sitting somewhere in escrow, but I see cash on hand of being $30 billion. How do you pay Elon Musk $56 billion that he's owed? That's going to be a problem.
Just real quick, I went to Kathy's ARC here just to check.
Okay, that's a good idea.
It was April 2nd. What day is April 2nd on that chart?
Oh,
April 2nd, she bought 182,000 shares to add to her current position.
Yeah, that was at this bottom of 160. That's actually right here, 163. So if they bought it at 160, another 182,000 shares.
So she's
so
buying,
what's the total amount now then?
I'll double check. She's buying into earnings. That could be an absolute mess.
Okay, so
shout out to Kathy Wood.
Yeah, shout out. This ARC Innovation, we've had Brian Shannon on this thing for a couple times. I mean, ARC right now is all the way back to where it was in 2018. So what does that face for?
She has 5.2 million shares of Tesla.
Well, if you own ARC, then you also have that many shares as a percentage of the portfolio for that. But no, look, I don't have a problem. I mean, that's how she made. I mean, you know, you take advantage. I mean, if you look at the weekly chart here of ARC, you take advantage of those things. Yeah, there's Kathy Wood calling us, by the way. You take advantage of, you know, the rise of Bitcoin, the rise of Tesla, and when you put your eggs in these baskets, and again, zero interest rates. Like, you have to remember, when you're buying this kind of innovative companies, they need cash, they need capital, they need investments. And right now, that money is hard to find. I actually don't mind taking shots at trying to buy some of these. Did you see that Pack B, by the way? Neil dug into it. Maybe you could find, I don't know if it's on that there, but her average cost on Pacific Biosciences, which just came out with horrendous news the other day, was $19. It's at $1.50, and it's actually lower than that right now, $1.43, looking to make new lows in Pacific Biosciences of California. Another thing that she was
buying.
She's buying, yeah, exactly.
Hand over fist, too.
Hand over fist.
April 11th, she bought.
Man, I wish we joke about her being Aunt Kathy, but I wish she was.
I mean, she bought 218,000 shares on April.
Fortune favors the bold.
Wow,
Worst stocks this year of the S&P. I teased you with this earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were just talking.
I thought we were going to mention Tesla.
I think we were just talking about one of them, yeah.
Yeah, so here it is right here. I've never heard of GL, which is Global Life. They are an insurance company, but I did look at this stock, Brendan, and something just happened to GL basically today. So there was a bad report coming from them. They are now down. I mean, they just went in the last couple of days from 105 down to $40 and really got hit their GL. So I have to do more work and find out what's up with that. But their whole move is just recently. The stat that I wanted, I mean, some of these names that I was looking at here was, we have Boeing, and this is why we talk about this. Boeing down 35% this year. Tesla down 35% this year. A stock that I didn't think we'd say this, Lululemon down 35% this year. Charter, Walgreens down, Humana, there's your Intel, there's Warner Brothers. So what I'm here to say is, although there's been nice market breadth to the upside and actually to the downside, insurance, Boeing, right? So some industrial, some Tesla there, some retail in Lulu.
Wow, Lulu.
Yeah, I know, right? 35%, that is surprising. I wasn't expecting that. And then Intel there for the downside. That's why when we talked about this last week, just a surprise at some of the names that continue to get hit that we consider pretty solid companies. I put Lulu in there as well. So.
I didn't read into this at all, but Fuzzy Panda with a short note on that GL.
Oh, that makes sense. You don't want to stand in the way of Fuzzy Panda.
Takes down a stock 54%. It's got to be like accounting fraud or something.
That was a 10 billion share market cap, so $10 billion market cap shares.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah. Okay, so that's that. So I wanted to bring that up. I didn't know about that stock.
Yeah, me either.
You know, actually, you know what stock's going down right now is Berk B. It might be a time to pick up some Berkshire. We know that their largest holding, of course, is Apple.
Yep.
So Berkshire here on the daily chart.
Way.
Yeah, bigly. I just think if you want to get some insurance exposure, some financials, right there, Berkshire down here to 397 after just making a top of 420.
What do you feel about the succession there? Is it still the same stock?
Show.
That's a great show.
I know.
I mean, they might make a show about
slipped on that. Have you watched all of those?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know you like it.
Fantastic.
That's okay. That's going to be our next thing. We've done everything pretty much.
But with Berk B,
yeah,
is it the same stock once he's not there?
I mean, I think if the principles remain the same, I mean, I'm sure in their charter or whatever that they want to buy value stocks. There's probably certain PEs that they're looking for. I don't think. Look, I mean. I'm not going to throw shade at Warren Buffett or anything like that, but the market's been quite nice since we've started investing, or since he started investing. He had Coca-Cola. He was dead on Apple. There's been some mistakes for sure in Berkshire, But at the end of the day, I just look at it as a value ETF. I mean,
exactly.
that is 51% Apple.
It's a holding company, essentially.
Guy was making remember what it was, $400 million in dividends a quarter or something like that?
Not bad.
Just from Apple?
That's not bad. That's not bad.
51% of Berkshire Apple.
The reason I asked that, I was reading a really interesting article on this, and one of the highlights that they pointed to in this article was, I should have grabbed it.
Yeah.
The past 2 years, like he has this yearly earnings weekend.
It's really fun. He drives around in a golf cart.
Yeah.
People get free Dairy Queen.
In the past two, they've had I can't think of the guy's name right now, but they've already made public who the person that's going to take over is.
I haven't.
And they've had him more prominent on stage.
Oh, perfect.
2 years ago with Charlie still there, this year without. He had more of a prominent role on stage. So they're slowly bringing the next takeover executives into the spotlight, I guess.
I mean, unfortunately, and we all know this, as you get older, you start to lose a little bit. And I mean, when you are managing that much money, I think that's prudent to do that. So I say shout out. Yeah. I mean, what is he, 96, 97? The average age of, I mean, again, the wealthy tend to live longer. I wonder why that is. But I mean, at the end of the day, Berkshire is fine. I'm not worried about that. I was talking about buying Dow Industrials. This might be another name that's worth dipping some toes.
There's got to be there's got to be a lab somewhere that should run a test on both Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett on how active they have had to keep their brains on a daily basis, like in and out, day in, day out, with reading earnings reports, with reading financials, with reading companies' backgrounds all day, every day. It's very well known. Both of those guys love to read, spent most of their days reading and reading and reading and reading.
Yeah.
How much of that contributed to such incredibly long lives for both of them? Like
that'll be interesting to find out.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there's tons of studies. Oh, there, he's phoning us right now, and we can deal with that again. I was going to ask you, do you ever go on StubHub or anything?
I have a couple of times, yeah.
Because I'm just seeing this now.
To get baseball tickets, mostly, yeah.
They may IPO. Do you know that? So you want to talk about Elon Musk? I mean, this is another thing. PayPal used to have StubHub.
Yep.
They spun that up. Well, I guess it's still, I don't know if it's still part of, I'm going to find out. I just saw this right now. So right here, look, been working with JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs.
$16.5 billion.
Is that a lot?
I feel like it.
So do I. So I don't know the share structure about all of that. Oh, sorry, eBay, PayPal, they're all tied together.
Right.
StubHub has been a long-time player in the ticketing industry since its launch in 2000. It was purchased by eBay for listen to this. You want to talk about a deal, Brendo. StubHub was purchased by eBay for $310 million in 2007. So you're going to put on there 15 years, give or take, more than that, 16, 17 years. And right now it was reacquired in 2020 for $4 billion.
Jeez.
So right there through a company via GoGo, I should probably know that. And now there's a whole bunch of different things, Vivid Seats and so on and so forth, Game Time. But that's pretty interesting. The reason why I bring that up is, are you an investor in IPOs after this recent shellacking? Maybe I'm loading this question. Are you an investor in IPOs after recent IPO action?
No, not at all.
No, because look at, I wanted to bring up Reddit. Reddit is again going low.
Everyone knew this company doesn't make money. I don't.
But they tell us that. It's like so crazy that people flock to these stocks.
I have another one.
All right, which one do you have?
ARM.
Okay, is ARM not a different story because at least they're in the right sector?
They caught the wind.
Make money.
They caught the wind at the right time. It's true, but what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I actually think we should be buying.
8 days, it was below its IPO price. It's never looked back.
Yeah. 8 days?
8 days.
I have to zoom back. I have to zoom out of this one. But look what it's doing now. I mean, it's giving it back up. We're right at.
This is weeks, not days. Weeks.
Yeah.
Weeks. It was below its IPO price.
Oh no. Yeah, for sure. I was going to say. Look, I mean, look at here on the daily chart. You had a lot of opportunity to buy this stock. I mean, it based out at $45, $46. Maybe Reddit's setting up for that. I think ARM's. When does ARM report? Hold on a second here. ARM reports May 8th. So if you were to reach for some shares, I think.
Had an ugly day today.
Stupid. I think down here at $100, But look at this gap fill on earnings. So again, be careful. We have ASML come out today with a kind of an ugly print as well.
Yeah, that was light.
That was pretty light. So you see ASML here dropping from over $1,000 in down 7% today into 908 and looking to go lower, trying to take some of that back. We talked about AMD being in a bear. Am I not right there? That's a 225. So you take off 10% of 220, right? That puts us back to 200. Take off another 10% to there, that's 180. So the fact that we're at 153, AMD from its highs is down something like 25%.
It's 32.15.
Okay. What'd you put on fibs there? What did you do?
A measuring tool.
Measuring tool.
Scientific.
Man, very side. No, but I mean, I need that because I'm just like looking at this. I'm like, okay, it's definitely 20. It's definitely 25, but 32%.
32%.
Like those of us that say, oh my God, we missed this move up in the chip names. Is it not time to buy? I mean, I'll ask you, is it not time to buy a stock like an AMD?
I think
TSM
here's what I think.
with a good.
Shout out to Michael Noss.
Right. Okay, let's do that.
In this environment, after such a massive move with so much uncertainty around interest rates, so much uncertainty around inflation, so much uncertainty on a global macro scale, I want to see smiley faces.
Right. Shout out.
I don't want to see stocks going down. I want to see stocks going up. And I think just as a general rule, I'm going to take that approach until the market shows us that it's ready to go back.
Yep, don't catch falling knives. The only thing I would say on that is, for me, I thought you were going to say no way AMD, and I think that's basically what you did say until they do that. But I'm almost going to take things differently with NVIDIA. I just think they're the leader, and I want to buy more NVIDIA on dips.
I agree on that.
So I just think for that one, the fact that we're also down, use your tool again. This goes from 970 down to 840. So that is, again, another 130 off of 970. So we're back in.
Here right now, it's like 13 and a
I
half.
was going to say 16. Okay.
The low was 14 and a half.
Yeah.
So
that's not really, is that, I mean, they say bear markets are 20. So you're getting close to doing something there. Yeah, correction there for NVIDIA.
Much needed correction.
There was something like only 10% of the S&P 500 is above the 50.
I don't doubt that.
No, maybe it was a 10-day moving average. That would make more sense. Yeah. Anyway, so it's a no on StubHub.
Yeah, I'm going to hard pass on that. I do remember actually the last time that I didn't use it, but I went on it just to check pricing on something.
Yeah.
Do you know Charlotte Cardin?
I do not.
She's a singer from Montreal. Wife wanted to go and see her. She was at Massey Hall going back a month ago or so. She's gaining popularity. Has like one song I think that's popular on the radio right now. So she was going to play 2 nights at Massey Hall. Take a wild guess.
I'm going to say experiences are so expensive. Like I mean, I can't possibly guess because I have no idea what like the face value of the tickets were. Like were they $200?
Massey Hall is
smaller.
It's smaller, but it still has like the 3 levels.
It's like an opera house.
And then it has like the floor.
Yeah. So these were floor seats?
We were looking at the first ring.
Right, I like that, yeah.
480.
Yeah. So I could have cheated there. I'll tell you why. Randy, shout out to Randy.
Yeah.
He went out, he bought some vinyl today. He bought a Blue Rodeo album.
Me.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
So he told me this story that tickets for them at Massey Hall were $550. So I was going to say 500, then you would have said, how the hell did you know that? But yeah, wow.
But I mean, come on, Blue Rodeo, Charlotte Cardin. I mean, there's a little bit of a difference there. I'm just saying.
I don't know who Charlotte Cardin is. But you're right, Blue Rodeo. I saw Blue Rodeo, by the way. I paid $25 to see them on the lawn a couple of years ago at Budweiser, the amphitheater outside.
Horrible place for a concert.
I love Blue Rodeo. Great place for a concert. You can chill out there on the lawn, dude.
But the sound is
terrible.
Have
your beers. Oh, the sound, you're fine.
Sound is terrible.
I mean, it's on a lake.
You know what? You would, if you heard the popular song from her right now.
Oh, I'm sure I would.
Know,
I'm sure my wife's going to give me.
All right, a huge monster week coming up next week. Let's touch on some earnings.
Are you wrapping this up?
No, Sean, there's so much to talk about for what's coming up next week. We're right into the thick of it, really, for earnings. Tuesday, I mean, not as much. Tesla's Tuesday, but Spotify as well. Wednesday, Meta, Microsoft. Oh no, Microsoft and Google Thursday. Meta on Wednesday.
Wow.
Like next week is just.
That is the Super Bowl, man. please, if you're praying to higher powers, you pray for good health. You don't want to be sick. This is not the time, if you are a day trader, to miss. I mean, I'm looking at this too. I feel like you just glossed over. Tuesday was Spotify, that's big. That's before the open. Tuesday night, then you come up with Tesla. Then you come up with Visa. Then you come up with Enphase. That TAN ETF is an absolute nightmare. You come up with General Motors on Tuesday. So not only do you get the old faithful General Motors, then you come up with Tesla. So we'll see which one's winning on that one. Then on Wednesday, Brendan, you get Boeing.
Oh, God.
I mean, what could Boeing possibly say that gets us excited? I mean, that stock is horrendous.
I can show you. I can show you a message. I'm not even joking. Or making this up.
If it's Boeing, I'm not going.
My wife just messaged me and said, "This Boeing stuff is freaking me out."
What? Why are you guys traveling soon?
In the summer.
Yeah, so am I. Why would it be freaking her out? Just tell her to slow down. You know what you have to do?
It sounds like every day. It's
What?
like every day they're finding something broken on something.
Okay, but at the end of the day, there hasn't been a loss of life in the last little while. Knock on wood.
Knock on Randy's.
But I'm just saying, if you open up that flight center, where it shows like millions of planes taking off like every day.
It's insane. I know. 100%.
No, but you are right. And isn't it just so funny that it used to be, if it ain't Boeing, I'm not going.
Right.
Now it is. We're all looking to
Where's
see.
the Airbus
Yeah.
at?
Where's the Airbus? And people, I don't know. I mean, I was talking about this with friends just jokingly, but it's funny that it's just coming up because now your wife's.
I know.
Now your wife's mentioning. Now I got another one over here. Now your wife's mentioning it. I got to have. If I don't twirl
Fully
something,
stocked.
yeah, it's part of like. I don't think I have ADD. I do. No, because the thing is that honestly, it's part of like when we were growing up. That's something. Even with my kids. It's like there's all these new like tests and everything they do, and it's just like, oh my God, it seems like everybody. So I probably thanks Ramin for that. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but apparently I do.
Is what it is.
But look, I mean, XOM Friday, energy, like no matter what you're doing,
On a tear
next
right
week is the week. So I would say it's not an investing week.
No.
Let stocks settle down. If you're going to trade anything, I think the 3-day rule, Brendan, we've talked about that a couple times.
Yeah. Look at this. Hold on. You mentioned XOM there real quick. Look at this juicy pullback XOM is currently having.
Randy was peed off. That
going into earnings.
Earnings, bad. I got to get out of some XLE, actually.
What a move that thing has had.
Yeah. The one thing about earning strategies, let's talk about this real quick. I just want to go over something because PAN-W. So let's go over an earning strategy play just real quick. And I know we don't want to get too technical on these podcasts, but I just want to show you something. PAN-W is a stock that I like, okay? So you wait for it to drop down. Look what happened. It came right into the 200 period moving average. It then rallied back to the 50 and failed. If you're seeing this in this kind of a market, take profits.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I want to say. If you're going to rally back like this, there's been examples of stocks just hitting the 200 and then continuously going down. I don't think you want to put all of your eggs in that basket, but when you get a move like that, that rallies back, especially from a 260 back to a 317 and not much changes in the macro side of things, you want to take some profit there. So on that note, we just saw a name there. What was catching my attention? IBM. IBM was a name that I don't think we drop back in, but you are right now under the 50 period. It's not looking great, just like Tesla. There's shelves that it can lose right now. If it loses 180 and for some reason comes into this 160 area, I'm a buyer of IBM into here, but I will take it out if we can get back into this 180 area. This is a name that we don't day trade that much. I really like IBM. They're really producing. You try to look at the server side. I like IBM. If there's ever a miss, this is the name that I'm going back into.
This brings me back to Tesla.
Again?
I'm scared about Tesla.
You're the smartest man in the room, and the reason why, I mean, your call on Rivian. Like you actually, it's kind of like Sharif, whether or not Sharif is still in Liotto or not, I don't know about that. He says he's out of it, so I'll take his word. That was a great call for him to get out of that. And you on this Rivian, the minute you fail, like this R1T, you were waiting for that. And then it just came back in, and that seemed to have been the day back there in March. They came out, they rolled it out, they got to $13 off of 10. Now you're down to 8 with that news. It's going lower. It's Rivian. I'm not excited about that one. GM, healthy, could be bought on pullbacks as well. And then Ford, yuck.
Ford does nothing ever though.
Ford, some of these names.
Like look at that chart. It's still trading at the same, like what is the beginning of that?
Oh man, if you're gonna go back.
Like it does nothing.
I'm not even gonna call up a weekly chart. I'm calling up a monthly chart on Ford.
This thing does nothing.
Ford right now is at the same level it was when I'm not sure, these kids were both born. This goes back to 2010 of the levels that we're at right now for Ford. They don't even pay it, like their dividend is so small.
And we could also have another conversation about Elon Musk in this sense because, like, think of the investor value. If somebody had their money parked in Ford from 2010 till now,
I know.
Zero value has been created.
Other than those dividends.
Have a look at Tesla's chart from 2010 to today.
I just called it up. You can't even see it.
And the guy can't even get his payment.
Okay, in 2010, Tesla was $3. All split adjusted. It might even be lower than this. It might have been $1.10 I'm seeing here on this chart. It went all the way up. So $1.10.
Split adjusted.
Split adjusted in 2010. So
zero value.
Like when you and I are going to Blue Jays games and dropping a couple $100, if you just bought some Tesla, it went all the way to $400.
The guy can't even get
You want to talk about wealth creation.
I just quickly looked it up here. Jim Farley's 2023 compensation package.
Ford, yeah.
$26.5 million.
Yeah, unbelievable, Ford. He's relatively new in that spot as well.
Not saying just...
what else comes out there? Pepsi, JetBlue, Caterpillar's been on a run. Oh my gosh, Google next. Did you even say Google? I missed that. Microsoft and Google Thursday.
That's going to be a monster day. Make sure everybody tunes in for the recap show on Thursday because that's going to be wild.
I want to show, you know who reports next week? Did we see McDonald's in there? No. Good segue. Look what McDonald's has right here. I wanted to bring this up to you. Crocs. Sorry, this is not McDonald's. This is, I have something else with McDonald's.
I saw this.
Crocs and Pringles.
Yeah, I saw this.
Look at this.
You can holster.
Crocs coming out with Pringles holders right there.
I'm buying those from Ramin tomorrow.
They're not out yet, but look, 5 different kinds here. Ever since Bieber get these, what are these things called? I have a bunch of these in my Crocs right now.
You know what those?
I'm going to show you a picture of my Crocs.
Those would be great for a plane. The holster?
Oh yeah, you just put your Pringles in there?
Yeah.
So what is your favorite Pringles flavor?
Any. I have a problem.
Problem answering questions or problem just?
No, like a problem with Pringles.
So it's like, isn't it Lay's? I bet you can't eat just one.
Was it, or Doritos?
No, it's Lay's. Bet you can't eat just one and they give you one and then you definitely can't eat. Pringles is another one of those
If there's
stories.
a Pringles can, it's being finished. It's happening.
Boot with Pringles holster, $100.
I'm down. Sign me up.
Really?
Yeah, why not? That's a problem.
It's going to be hilarious. I want to see Brendan wear Pringles Crocs. But anyways, that was pretty interesting. I thought that was pretty fun.
Oh, man.
Okay. So every
we do not get Crocs next week.
Every Pringles flavor is your favorite.
Monster week for earnings next week. We have another.
It is a collaboration with McDonald's in the fall. So Crocs already had a collaboration. Pringles and McDonald's. Now Pringles and Crocs.
Big Mac Crocs.
Some people put chips in their burgers. Have you ever done that? Or in hot dogs or sausages? Yes, man. Yes.
Many times.
Youth these days.
But it's like the
things we used to do.
The ripple ones, like the really thick rippled ones.
Pringle
like
rippled?
Extra salty. Those are the best.
Oh man.
Those are the best.
So when I say this to you, swamp water, what does that mean?
No idea.
Really? Okay. Swamp water is when you know McDonald's used to have those, I think some McDonald's still do, where you just go up and you fill up your own drinks out of the fountain drink.
They found the mechanic.
Swamp water is just you just take a little bit of every single one. I'm looking at your screen because you're trying to.
They found the mechanic at Boeing. This is a horrible Photoshop.
What do you mean they found the mechanic? What, the whistleblower?
Yeah. He's like, wait, I found it.
You're hilarious, dude. He's showing basically just a guy on the wing of a
mid-flight,
20,000 feet up.
That's a horrible Photoshop job, by the way. Anyway.
By the way, like I just Googled, so I'm not completely insane. I just Googled swamp water McDonald's, and it's literally.
What is that? Like all the pops?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I have heard of that.
No, you gotta do it yourself. You get the cup and you just go a little bit of iced tea, a
right.
little bit of you know,
I've never heard that word, but I've heard
there it is. There's
yeah.
swamp water. Apparently TikTok is over that.
How much sugar is in swamp water, I wonder?
A lot.
Anything else? I mean, there's so much economic data next week as well. Just real quick, S&P Services PMI on Tuesday, GDP, as you mentioned, to kick things off on Thursday, 8:30 pre-market. We get PCE. That's going to be the big one. Friday morning, 8:30. He even reiterated, Powell, going back to whatever day it was he was talking, they look at that. He even said they look at that, and they want to see that core number moving in the right direction. The expectation is for a 0.3% increase and overall 2.5% on PCE. Let me throw this out. If we get a 2.0 print on PCE, does Powell say we're done? We did it. It's 2%.
Yeah, he should.
Exactly. Exactly.
But they're not going to get that.
They're going to cop to PCE and not CPI.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to get that. And if they do,
it's 2.5 right now. I mean,
but all the numbers have been hotter.
They're expecting an uptick.
Yeah, so all the numbers have been hotter. If it gets that, then yeah, maybe the cuts are back on. Would you think so?
We'll see.
But what's more important? I was going to ask you. I thought this is what you were going to ask me: earnings or economic numbers next week?
Earnings, 100%.
Right. I mean, I think the market goes on that.
By a landslide.
What have you bought on Marketplace recently? Because check out this.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting, right? Facebook's final cool frontier. So you have cooled off on desktop views, down 3.6%. This is year over year, and this is a couple months ago from February. But Marketplace upside, I wonder if this is, so Marketplace 15% increase, meanwhile traffic to Facebook itself down. I wonder if that is sort of a note about what's happening in the economy.
Yes.
Potentially people slowing down on ridiculous new appliance purchase or whatever, and possibly looking for a deal.
And the secondhand market is clearly hotter than ever. The fine gentleman that sits beside me at this desk every single morning on the live show, every other day, talks about Facebook Marketplace.
The good thing about Sharif, I mean, there's lots of good things about Sharif. The guy's definitely a value guy.
Yeah, 100%.
He talks about like winners, which would be the equivalent of like TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
I'm all about Marketplace.
Yeah.
Oh, you know a funny story about Marketplace?
I don't even have a Facebook account.
Listen to this. Sure. My kid, well, if you have Instagram is not Facebook, I guess.
Do you get Marketplace though if you have just Instagram?
I don't know. There's no Marketplace on Instagram. What I was going to say is, I actually felt pretty fun about something.
I'm old.
Hi, old. What's up, old? But no, I bought skates on Marketplace from somebody for $70 because my son needed new skates. It was like really quick. I was like, let's just get him it. So we bought him for $70. And then you know what? So now he needs new skates. I took him to the pawn shop, the skate shop, and I traded those skates in.
Made money?
$100. So I was thinking about a new business idea. I'm just going to scan Marketplace for all these great values and then do that. But that was, anyways, it was trade-in value. So we got $100 worth of trade. I felt pretty cool.
For all you traders out there, that's an ARB.
I'm all about arbing stuff.
That's not bad.
Oh, you know what we didn't talk about?
Hit me.
What up with this, man? What's up with BTC, Brendo?
Speaking of
this is starting to get pretty spicy down here.
You mean it's not going straight to 100,000?
I thought it was.
Stop.
We're coming into levels. That sounds a little facetious.
Never.
Talking too much. $60,000. What do you think? I mean, it's come right in, man. This is the third or fourth time since we've broken it that we've tested it back. We tested it in March early. We tested it in mid-March. Now we're testing it in mid-April to late April right here. 60,000. You think it holds?
You're going to have to fight Fabian to buy whatever's available.
Is Fabian just buying all of the Bitcoin hand over fist right now? How much are we paying this guy?
Too much.
Too much? Fabian, I got your back. I think not enough.
Worth every Bitcoin, though.
I don't think it's what I was going to get at is I think you got to wait. We've been talking about the connection between Bitcoin and the NASDAQ and just how, and I think we said this a couple podcasts ago, everybody's just feeling really damn good about themselves.
Yeah.
When you can open up that Coinbase account and you could say, oh my God, 6 months ago, this was at 20 grand and now it's at, like my account, now it's at 40,000 or whatever so you feel better about having this little bit of income generation on the side.
Yeah.
But now that Bitcoin's come back in, I wonder how many people had FOMO, bought some of these tops, and now we're like, uh-oh, you know, what am I going to do? Because if this breaks back down below, I wonder about weekends. Something like 77% of Bitcoin are still in the same wallets.
In April too.
That's the other problem. Ethereum also pulling back.
But is that not bullish? I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But having
well, have you seen Mara? I mean, Mara. Some of these miners are definitely going to the downside. I'm staying away from that. I'm going to talk to Big Patty Ice about this one because Mara's broken below the 200 into $14.
What's the BPI index saying these days?
The BPI index is saying sell. I feel like the Big Patty Ice index.
I agree.
Yeah.
We should create that indicator. Let's wrap this up. Absolutely fantastic week this week. More to come next week. Again, earnings, everything is basically reporting next week. There's a few that are going to come, as we said, further out in May. But lots to look forward to coming up next week. What was good for you this week? Give me a good thing.
So I was actually going to say something, and I should have it up, but I don't. I was actually going to say just going back out. Like for me, for example, now we're getting into the springtime, hanging out on patios,
oh, yeah.
You know, starting to enjoy the weather. And honestly, with tax season here right now in Canada and in the US, I feel like it's just, okay, we just had the Masters. We talked about that. What a great Masters, I feel like.
Unreal.
Great to watch Scheffler. And I talked about this as well. Did you see how serious that guy was?
Yeah.
The one thing I want to say about it, I think you have to be like that in trading and in investing. Sure. I was watching this guy, and honestly, from like hole 9 on Sunday, it was like no emotion.
All business.
It was like, I'm getting up to the tee. This is how I hit a 9-iron, and that's the progression. Progression.
And it was almost Tiger-esque in that fashion. He was known throughout that crazy run that he had at the Masters for that very same thing.
Yeah, I mean, like
steel-faced,
like not even high-fiving, and just being like, I am here to do business.
Exactly.
So what that makes me think about is trading. We're here to make money. We're here to take advantage of that. Next week's going to be absolutely monstrous. But yeah, that was my one good thing.
Okay.
Is just seeing the weather, man.
Golf.
Getting out there, golf. The boys went golfing yesterday.
It's coming, man. It's coming.
But then, Brendan, I looked down at the watch.
Don't.
It's like 50 degrees again
horrible.
Outside. But that's my one good thing. You know, having a good time. We'll go out together. We'll take some, have some pints on a patio. That's my good thing. Pints on a patio.
Is the season as they
and yours is?
I said this. I used the same one a couple weeks ago, but I want to double down on it because we had an absolute
candles. Oh no!
Fantastic experience at this restaurant, and everyone needs to go there. David Schwartz is the executive chef. Shout out to him. The couple that we went to this restaurant with, I didn't even know this, but the friend of my wife's, who she works with, knew the sous chef. Oh. They were bringing us appetizers and extras and all kinds of stuff. Unbelievable.
Show the dish.
Absolutely unbelievable. Sundays in Kensington, fantastic. It's spicy.
It's Asian fusion or just Chinese?
I mean,
like, what did
fusion.
You eat? What did you eat?
It is Chinese based. But they have, they have all kinds of different dishes, like different parts of the world. They have fish, they have beef, they have all kinds of stuff. Unbelievable. It is spicy.
Wow.
I'll put that out there.
Just like, did you have to order the spice level
across
or just
the board?
But did you tell me what you just ate there? What did you?
I mean, we had.
Oh, you just had a bunch of everything.
We had. I'm not even joking. Like
that's the best way to have
10 different.
Perfect. That's
like
the best
10 different plates of stuff. No, it's fantastic. Go check it out. So shout out to all of them. If you get a chance, go check it out. Sunny's in Kensington. That's it. We just did it. Episode. What is it?
That was Wednesday.
37.
Something like that, or 23.
Or 23. Take your pick.
Something.
Great job. We'll see you Thursday. We'll also see you next week if you're watching on the weekend.
And we may have a new. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, put some comments down there. Pretty soon we're gonna have a whole new location.
More to come. ...
See ya.